Hey, podcast. Kevin hates when I yell the intro. Welcome to Death by Podcast, the world's greatest horror movie and beyond podcast. I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin
and Adam. Yeah. And we've got a guest named Leo Mancini. Leo, say hi.
Hey, guys. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Leo, everybody's saying, like, who's this Leo? Leo is a friend, a fellow artist who we've mentioned on the show before, Shadrago, the drink and draw that my brother and Eric Green started a few years back. And we all met there. That's where I met Kevin. Kevin came in with like a 6-pack of beer, sat down, offered them to everyone. I don't even think he drank one himself that night because he gave them all away.
Is that how you guys met? I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And then one day, this kid, I'm not even joking. Leo, how old are you right now?
22.
All right. So when you walked into the drink and draw, you were 18?
About 18, probably.
Yeah. And you walked in with a loaf of bread, like a baguette. I talk about this story all the time because it's hilarious. And I don't know if that was your first day or not, but that's the one I remember. You walked in and like offered people to take a bite of it. Like,
I must have missed that week. I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I just remember you walking up
because I feel like, especially back then, like, I don't know, I do a lot of weird shit like that. But
the only person who took you up on it was Joe.
Yeah. Well,
he took a bite.
That's why he's the best.
I know. And one of these days we're gonna get like you, Joe, Wolfgang, me, Kevin, all up on this show. It'd be awesome.
We have to do a Shadrago reunion on this show at some point. That would be great.
We'll definitely do that. So we've got Leo on tonight. Our main topic is, or our main show, whatever. REPO Man, 1984, Elmo Sheen. But we're gonna get to that. We've got a bunch of news. Kevin, is this true?
Not a ton of news, but
right, we got some things going on. We got a couple What'd You Watches, and we've got a couple other things I want to talk about briefly. But before we get to that stuff, Leo, you're an artist. We're artists. We're all artists. I'm a performance artist, like a mime. That's my main thing. You, however,
excuse me,
you're a graphic novelist.
I am a graphic.
Shut up! I'm not going to give you that. No, we're not.
That's
you're
true.
You're a comic book artist. And one of these days, not today on this show, but we're going to bring Kevin in on that debate because I want to hear what he has to say about it. But that's a dangerous territory for this.
For the two of us, that's a banned topic. Yeah.
So, but you just tell us about what you're doing real quick.
Yeah. So I have a new 24-page graphic novel.
Shut up! It's a comic
called Wack Mirror.
Literally a comic.
It's called Wack Mirror. It's 3 short stories, sort of in the vein of Black Mirror, Twilight Zone. It's kind of psychedelic and Adult Swimmy too. But there's basically 3 stories. There's one where the devil gives a guy 24 hours, and at the end of 24 hours, he's going to take the souls of everyone who doesn't believe that guy is racist, which puts him in kind of a hard situation. There's another one where there's an AI that takes over the whole world, basically, like it's a stock trading AI, and it ends up running all the governments and everything. And it walks you through the daily meditation practice that it attributes its success to. And then there's another one where this secret agent who works for the CIA and is a giant rabbit fights God.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they're kind of fun. I think people listening to this will be into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it an intentional homage / play on the show Black Mirror? Are you a fan of Black Mirror? Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm a big fan of Black Mirror.
Just to give people like a flavor, like, but it's Black, but it's Wack. Yeah.
It's like it's Black Mirror, but it's what it's. I mean, it's not a parody of Black Mirror. Like it's not saying like a sci-fi anthology is a bad idea,
right?
Or you know what I mean? It's not like Scary Movie or something. It's like it is just Black Mirror, but it's weird. It's like if Black Mirror was on Adult Swim.
Yep.
Adult.
It is very Adult Swim. I wouldn't be surprised if you ended up with that on Adult Swim at some point.
One day.
Yeah. And you just wrapped up. That was a Kickstarter for that, correct?
Yeah, so that was a Kickstarter July 1st. Oh, sorry, July 1st through 31st. And so I just got the proof back. So the book will be on leomancini.com in September. And you can follow the updates on Instagram at Leo Make Comic.
Nice. I like it, man. And we'll have all that information on the social media and all that shit. We just wrapped up our Patreon podcast, BoobTube TV, episode 69, where the three of us talked about we continued our Halloweenish horror, Halloweenish sitcom push that we're doing, and we talked about Mork and Mindy season 2, episode 8. It's called Morkville Horror. So if you want to check that out with Leo as well, that's on the patreon.com/deathbypodcast. Now Leo, the Kickstarter was a success, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And the book will be available in a month-ish, 2 months?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. In a month.
Okay, cool. And I read it. You sent me the digital copy and I looked at it at the store, which actually Leo comes to hang out at Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie every once in a while when I'm there. And he brought the physical copy of the comic, which was awesome. I like holding that. Is it going to be available digital as well, like both?
There was a PDF on the Kickstarter. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I've actually never sold digital comics. I should do that. So I guess yes.
There you go.
But yeah, you'll be able to get it digitally.
Cool. All right. We'll remind folks more about all this shit at the end as well. Is there anything else that like it needs to be said right now about Wack Mirror before we move on?
No, not at all.
Good. Because I didn't want to hear it. Kevin.
Yeah, well, no, thanks for that. Like
all right, before we get into like more fun, we did a fun thing. Real quick, I want to mention last week we lost Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman. Who's a fan?
Yeah.
Kevin, tell me about you and Paul Rubens.
Dude, I've loved fucking Pee Wee my entire life, man.
Right on.
It was a real bummer. It was real. I was on vacation. I was on the beach. And it was a real kick in the balls, man.
Yeah.
It was. I had a Pee Wee shirt with me, and I threw it on that I made myself, actually.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I was like, and I wore it all that day, and I was fucking. And everybody was like, I was fucking bummed.
Yeah.
And some, and not to bring up like sour spots like in his life, but it really, really kind of got under my skin because some people were like, wasn't he a pedophile? And I was like, no. I tell you what, here's what really pisses me. It's one of those things that what he got caught doing, or like what he got whatever canceled for, is insane. It's insane. There should have been riots in the streets, like when he got, because I mean they busted him like jerking off in a porno theater,
right? Like,
and it's like, what are you talking about, man? Like, that's what people do. It's insane that's. There should have been like, although I did hear a comedian I saw once had a really great bit about it. And he said, yeah, can you blame him? Everything in his house had eyes.
That's fucking great. Who said that? Do you remember?
No, it's a young guy. It's like an up and coming guy. And I was like, God damn it.
That is so good. Leo, have you ever seen Pee-wee's Playhouse?
I've seen the Tim Burton movie. There was like a Netflix movie too, right?
Yeah, recently.
I watched it today, actually.
I haven't seen that.
I've seen both of those.
Yeah.
I would like get high with friends in high school and watch those. So still popular.
Yeah. And, like outside of Pee-wee, I mean, the guy he did all kinds of shit, but he did some really cool. I mean, one of my favorites is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, playing that.
Is he on that?
Yeah, he plays.
He was in the movie.
He was in the movie. So the people don't realize that it's not Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's Christy Swanson from 1992, Rutger Hauer, and he plays like one of Rutger Hauer's Dracula, and he plays one of his like vampire minions. And
is he Dracula?
Yeah, he's a Dracula.
He's like an old vampire. Yeah.
But I don't know, his death scene, he wouldn't die. It's hilarious.
He's great. He's great in it.
And he played Mr. Cobblepot, the Penguin's dad in
Yeah,
fucking Batman
Batman
Returns.
Returns.
All kinds of stuff, man.
He did. He was in Blow. He was great in Blow.
Yeah.
You know, like
Portlandia.
anytime he popped up, it was always like, oh, hell, like he was great. I wish he would have done more stuff.
Well, he made, the biggest thing with his, and I hate using the word canceled because that's a new phrase,
right?
The kids like to use. But when he got in trouble in 1991, so Pee-wee's Play, it went like the Pee Wee Herman show was like 79, 80, 81 back when he was with, I think
the one on
the Groundlings, like the
yeah. The thing he was the live show.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he went to, he
had a special that he recorded for HBO.
Right.
And then that got him the movie. And the movie got him Pee-wee's Playhouse.
And then Pee-wee's Playhouse. So Pee-wee's Playhouse ran from 86 to 91 and it ended because of this incident, which is, I'm not going to go do that. But at the same time, it's like you said, that's what
there was no internet. There was no anything, man.
Yeah.
Like, give him a fucking break. Are you kidding me? Like, oh.
So that's why that ended. And I think it was a bigger deal because he was a children's personality, entertainer. So I understand why it was a big deal. He recovered from it and he did more Pee-wee, he did more movies, he did all kinds of stuff. So big loss, especially because we didn't know he was sick. He kept that private. So, and he was only 70. But I love all the kind of outpouring of stuff. I went back, I'll post them somewhere, but I found an old, you remember the dating show from the 70s where it would be like a chick on one side of the screen and then three dudes and she would interview them.
Yeah. It was a dating game.
Dating game.
Yeah.
There's one from 1979 with Pee Wee Herman before he was anything. It's hilarious.
Was he doing Pee-wee? Like
he was Pee Wee Herman.
That's great.
And then there's another. Awesome. Yeah, it was hilarious. 1979. And there was another one hosted by Carl Reiner. It was a stand-up show, also from 79. And it was his like regular kind of like what's in the bag stuff. And it was just there's so much crazy stuff out there. It's really awesome. But I also wanted to rest in peace, Paul Reubens. He was awesome. Huge part of my childhood, yours, I'm sure. And I love that younger people found him too. So
like my kids, dude, literally, it was weird. The day he died, I was on the beach and my kids were like, they wanted to go upstairs and they don't, they're 2 and 3. They don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And they love watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure, specifically the pet shop scene. Yeah. Like, I got to rewind it.
Yep.
And they were like, the day it happened, they looked like came up down the beach. Like, I want to go upstairs and watch Pee-wee on the in the pet shop.
Yeah.
And like, they watch a million things, but it was weird. They brought that one up specifically.
Yeah.
I was like,
I get it.
They love it. They'll watch it over and over again.
I get it, man. Leo, anything else on Pee-wee or Paul Reubens before we?
I don't know. Maybe Joe told you this. He told me that he had this isn't like sentimental, but he told me he had a nightmare that I came in to drink and draw and started shitting on Paul Reubens.
Like talking shit about him or like,
literally? Just like, I fucking hate that. Like, I don't understand it. It's old. And,
no
that's
kidding.
Hilarious. So no, that's not how I feel at all, but
that's good to know. I love
just you can cut that.
That's a nightmare, man. But... Yeah, I'd have been like, "What do you nuts?" Like,
I love though that it could have been literal.
Yeah,
and knowing
it's a dream.
And knowing my brother, like, it wouldn't have surprised me if it was literal. Like, you were literally shitting on people.
Yeah. I'll send you a picture if I can find. I was Pee Wee Herman for Halloween like 2 years ago.
Get the fuck out.
At my wife's family party. Yeah, like I hadn't seen a lot of her family in a very long time, and I showed up dressed as Pee Wee Herman.
Dude, did you like try to do the character or
no? But I mean, I was, I slicked my hair back. I wore bowling shoes and
amazing.
Yeah,
we'll definitely post that. We'll post that on the Patreon. Save you a little bit of dignity. Also in the same vein, William Friedkin last few days ago. Leo, I don't know if you know William Friedkin, director.
Yeah, Exorcist guy.
Exorcist. He did a lot of like really bizarre choices considering he's the Exorcist guy, you know. Like after the Exorcist, he did some strange stuff, like mainstream stuff, I guess. But you know, he revolutionized horror in a lot of ways.
I mean,
just with that one movie.
French Connection.
Yeah, we were just talking about that French Connection.
Yeah,
he did one and
two.
The
N-word cut of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he
and
did
I'm sure he went in and did it's such bullshit.
Yeah,
like the balls
well,
on
now
Disney
we'll
to
never
come
know.
out,
Like,
and say, oh no, it's the director's cut.
Yeah,
like bullshit.
He did that one. You remember that one with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro?
Yeah. Hunters.
Yeah, Hunted.
Yeah, The Hunted.
That's not good.
It's not bad. It's a good sit. It's a good, like, you know.
I saw it when
it's not a waste of time. It's
like,
it's not bad. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. He did that though, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
Leo, are you an Exorcist fan?
I like The Exorcist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And then did he do some movie like in the Arctic or something, or like they're on a mountain?
Maybe
something weird, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Is that the Gray?
Mostly I like The Exorcist. Yeah.
I remember looking at his IMDb and I was like, he did that. And so there was a few out there that were weird, but all right. So that's the sad portion of our show. Kevin, give me some good news.
Well, there's not a lot of horror news this week.
Yeah.
But so there's a company and I forget the name. It's actually not even in the article. And they do this really cool thing where they have screenings of movies at the location. Like I actually did it. They played the Blues Brothers at the Joliet prison. Okay. Like that was cool. They've done it last year. They did the Ninja Turtles at the farm, like the actual farm from the movie. That's cool. It's a big party and it's cool. And they do it. They did Halloween at the house, like shit like that. And it's a very cool idea. I think they did Jaws. It might be a different company. Yeah, no, they did it they gave everybody like little like inner tubes and they set it up on the beach.
Wow.
Yeah.
How awesome would it have been if they did that and there was a shark?
That would be awesome. So I don't know if it's the same company, but they're doing something that's kind of weird. This one's a little different, and it's also weird because Bloody Disgusting, which is where we get all our news, used the wrong. I wouldn't say they used the wrong picture, but so they're doing silent. I think okay, so they're doing Silence of the Lambs at Buffalo Bill's house at like the real house. But the actress Brooke Smith, who played the woman in The Hole,
no shit,
is going to be there dressed as the character.
That's amazing.
And I don't even know if they're showing the movie. I think they're just doing like a signing.
Oh, really?
With the woman.
And
it's just so like the article has a picture of, I forget the name of the actor that played Buffalo Bill.
Right.
So when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. They have like Buffalo Bill's going to be there.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's the girl.
That's hilarious.
that he yelled at to put the lotion in the basket.
The lotion in the basket. Yeah. Cool. What else you got?
Oh, and it's a tour of the house. They're also giving like a tour of the house. And it's $125. That's it. That's all the news.
Christ.
That's the only news.
There's no, I mean, they locked in the director for Scream 7. And it's the same guy that did Scream 6, I think.
That's too bad.
We can talk about the Big Jim movie.
We
could speculate.
Yeah. Big Jim movie.
There you go.
All
but
right.
horror news, not too much, man.
Not too much. Okay. I don't have any news horror wise. I got a couple. What'd you watches?
I got a couple too.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah. What do you got?
Wait, Leo, did you watch anything this week other than Repo Man?
Did you guys already talk about Talk to Me? I might be like an episode behind.
No, we haven't.
I haven't watched it. It's
getting a lot of buzz. It just got greenlit for a sequel.
Really?
It's great. It's really good. And
that's what I hear.
Yeah, I didn't.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No, of course not.
Okay.
I thought it would be kind of teenagery. I thought it would be like a little bit more like Ouija or something.
Sure.
But no, it's really, really good. It's sort of like how a situation like that would play out in the real world. And I don't know. I mean, it's just scary. It's scary and it's fun. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen something that was able to like be that scary at the same time as it was that fun. Like not go back and forth. Like it's just,
Yeah.
you know.
Did you
Yeah,
see
they're
Barbarian?
It's definitely as good as Barbarian.
Okay.
I might have liked it better than Barbarian
Are you
because I
saying
thought that was one where it was like
Yeah.
kind of going back and forth a little bit. Like, and I love Barbarian.
Yeah.
But like Talk to Me was insane. And I mean, I saw it like at Music Box at midnight with a bunch of people who were like really hyped up about it. So maybe that like made it seem better, but it's amazing. I really loved it.
Kevin, did you ask that because they're both A24?
No, and you know, A24 has even that they used to be my like, if it's A24, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I used to, even if I went to see a movie and the logo came up, I would like cover my eyes because I don't even want to. I don't want to know anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're still pretty good, but
why did you compare it to Barbarian?
Because Barbarian's fun and super like tense at the same time. But like, no, yeah, A24 is running out of goodwill with me. Like it's no longer like okay, I'm in just based on the name.
Blumhouse used to be that for me. I'd be like, all right,
now
let's do that.
I'm actively the opposite of Blumhouse now. Like if it's Blumhouse, I'm like, it's like seeing M. Night Shyamalan. I'm like, fuck that.
yeah, no,
this
that's gonna suck. Kevin, what turned you around on A24?
The hoity-toity, like Ari asked, like just like
okay, yes,
like Midsummer, I liked the first time, and then I was like, I don't know, man. Like I just got like, it just seems like snobby up its ass horror. You know what I mean? Like it's very pretty, and you could hang any frame on a wall, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I don't need to go to art school, or you know what I mean? It feels like. Yeah, I don't know. I like trashy horror. I don't need it to be. You know,
he does. He likes trashy horror. It's true.
Did you guys see Beau is Afraid?
What is it?
No, that's Ari Aster. Who like?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Is it? I bet it is.
It's one of the. It was terrible.
Kevin, did you? What were you? Give me one of your. What'd you watches?
So I got two, but the big one is Teen Wolf. I mean, technically I got three because I watched Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2.
Holds up for you?
Yeah, man. Like I hadn't seen Teen Wolf in a while, and it gets me every time, man.
It's fucking awesome, dude.
When here's the thing about that movie. I was telling Lynn because she came in the middle and she's like, "Is this the whole movie? Like they all know he's a werewolf?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, the first half of the movie he's kind of hiding it, and then eventually, I'm like, it's. But here's the thing: I was watching. I'm like, it's basically a Disney Channel like original movie, except that like Michael J. Fox is so charismatic, that it like elevates it to real movie, because it's so stupid.
Yeah,
he's like breakdancing in the hallways and like it's so dumb, but it works, and it's like, and he just and that twist in the middle gets me every time. It's the best. That the big twist. Have you seen Teen Wolf, Leo?
No, I've never seen it.
It's so dumb, but it's funny.
You can tell me the twist if you want. I don't care.
So the first half,
is it really good? Should I watch it?
It's awesome.
Really good.
But like
strong.
The twist is that will it ruin Teen Wolf for me, or is it like
it's the big? But I mean, you'll probably see it coming. Watching it now, I'm like, how do you not see this twist coming? Because there's
no reason to talk about the twist if you haven't seen it. Just watch it. I mean, it's a 40-year-old movie, but like. Or a 35-year-old movie, but there's no reason to blow that. Just it's awesome.
I had no idea that was
especially like Michael J. Fox, like that was like right after Back to the Future.
No, it's right before.
Was it right before?
Yeah, because he was pissed he was doing it. Like he was like, he didn't want to be like, the story is he didn't really want to be doing it because he was doing Family Ties, and that was like the movie that he could get. And he was like, what the fuck? Like I think they had already passed him up for Back to the Future and given it to Eric Stoltz. And he was like, what the fuck? I'm doing Teen Wolf. And like, they were over there shooting Back to the Future. And because they shot it in less than a month.
Okay.
But and then I watched Teen Wolf 2.
How does
which
that hold
is-
up? I haven't seen that since it came out.
It's so funny that like it's so clearly like written for Michael J. Fox,
Yeah.
and then like they also like what's the one, like it's like Speed 2, like they wrote Speed 2 for Keanu Reeves,
Right.
and then Keanu Reeves didn't do it, and rather than rewrite the script, they just added one line of dialogue to be like, yep, that's why that guy's not here and this other guy's here. Like it's just the exact same script. And like this scene, like it doesn't, Teen Wolf 2 doesn't make any like like Michael J. Fox's dad is driving him to college. Like Michael J. Fox's best friend is his roommate. Like it's all like, and it's
That's
also
so weird.
Yeah, they recast the best friend too, which
What
is like,
what was his name?
Styles.
Boner. Styles, yeah.
Boner's growing pains.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, man, Teen Wolf. It's weird how it holds
Jason
up.
Bateman, right?
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's clearly like if you watch it, it's like this was supposed to be Michael J. They should have just said it was the same guy.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, Teen Wolf 2, it's fine. It's not as good as the first one.
Yeah.
But the first one is
Leo, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think you would actually really like it, because like, especially if you're gonna get stoned, watch it, because halfway through it, it's like, how is this a movie?
For sure.
What
I'll totally
like, how did they not run out of gas with this premise? Like, this movie should be 45 minutes.
Yeah. What was your third?
Oh, I watched Karate Kid. I
Nice.
finally got my wife wouldn't watch it for the longest time, and now she finally watched it.
Did she like it?
She loved it, and at the end she's like, so that's what Wax On Wax Off is. And she was like, I didn't think it was gonna be like a real movie.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
She tends to say that a lot. I mean, we all know Linz has really bad taste in movies, but I'm glad
but she did. She
liked
loved it. Well, not this time, because she loved it.
It's
and
one of the only
I'm gonna watch
movies.
Karate Kid 3. Go ahead.
It's one of the only movies that I can think of that has a montage scene where they use the entire song. Damn, what's the name of the song?
The Best Around, or are you talking about when he's training, or at the
Bananarama? Is it Bananarama? Summer, whatever the summer song is. It's when they're like doing like arcade stuff and whatever. Anyway, they play like the whole song, and I'm like, wow, that's like a whole 5-minute montage. Yeah, Karate Kid's the bomb, dude.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch Karate Kid 3, because I'd never liked 2 as a kid.
2's kind of like, I bet
but 3, I love 3. And then and then I'm gonna do Cobra Kai, I think.
Yeah, Cobra Kai is fun.
I've heard that it's good.
Yeah. I finally watched, mine are totally off the wall. I finally watched Guardians Galaxy 3.
It's not crazy.
What did you think of that?
You know,
it's a nothing movie to me. Did nothing for me, but show me like that James Gunn. I don't know, man. Like Joe and I were talking about it. Like, why do you know that a bunch of why it's like he goes out of his way to show kids animals dying. Why? I don't get it. Like,
I like that. That's what I like about him. That's
I
why
I don't like that. I don't think there's a reason when you look at the property like Guardians of the Galaxy and what it's been to who it's been, like, which is mainly, yeah, it's a Marvel movie and adults like it and whatever. But it's the most comedy out of their entire library. And it's drawn such a younger audience into it. Stuff like that just says to me that James Gunn likes to hit people with something that's going to shock them. And regardless of, just to get the emotion out of them, regardless of like the fact that it really doesn't need to be there. It doesn't have a place. And I don't know, it just it shook my confidence in his DC.
You know what? I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna open another beer because I actually found the violence in Guardians 3 to be the least disturbing of all of those movies. Because I think in the early ones, like those movies, more than like the Avengers, who I feel like are very professional, like they have like a coworkers vibe. The Guardians are like really sadistic, like Drax and Rocket especially, and like before every fight they're like, yeah, like I'm gonna go kill some guys, and they're listening to like 80s music, and they're really hyped up about it. And I don't feel that kids should be seeing that. I don't feel that the bad guy, especially because the bad guys in those movies are portrayed as kind of like cutesy and human, and I don't know. So that feels like it's more of a bad influence on children. Whereas like the animal stuff, like they really make that villain really horrible in Guardians 3. So like, when they have like a crazy, all the crazy shit that happens at the end, like I don't know. I was just more okay with it. It felt like,
No, I know. I completely know what I agree. Your take on it is completely accurate. I just feel like that was a smaller part of the movie. What I'm talking about, I just feel like what you're talking about, the violence in the previous two, it's cartoon violence to me. This was real world, kind of like, like stuff where it's like for two movies you gave us mostly, and a lot of kids, cartoon violence, and that sadistic side that you're talking about is like, it's laughable, and that's what it's there for. But this stuff that they were showing there, like, to me, I'm not saying kids shouldn't see it. I'm saying, why are you putting it in there? Like, it served no purpose. And the story to end his trilogy of the Guardians on this tiny story, because I don't really care about Rocket, but this tiny story that wasn't the Guardians saving the galaxy seemed like a waste of a opportunity, especially when they again brought in Sylvester Stallone's group, which is the original Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics. And he didn't do 2 movies now. He's been in there as a cameo, and it's just to like see his face, really. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just seemed like the movie seemed just like a waste. I don't know.
Did you like when he said, "Open the fucking door"?
It didn't even register to me, but like
cool.
the fact that people,
I like that part.
The fact that people are like wanking off to the fact that someone said "fuck" in a Marvel movie. Grow up. Who the fuck cares? Like, what does that matter? Like,
no, I mean, I'm not saying that like this is a huge milestone for culture but I thought it was a funny line.
Yeah, I thought it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it works within the comedy, sure, but if you're like focusing on the word "fuck," it's like, really? Like, I don't know.
I think, yeah. It didn't bother me. I was like, oh, that was neat. I don't know. I liked it. I didn't think it was as great as everybody said, but I was like, and also I didn't think Ant-Man was as bad as everybody said.
Yeah,
but I mean, Ant-Man, that was better than Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But it was like, I mean, I was fine with it. I'm not an animal guy, and also like as soon as they showed the cute animals, I was like,
yeah,
like they're CGI animals. They're not in any of the sequels.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
It's very clear what was gonna happen to them. So I spent most of the movie just waiting for these things to die. And then when they did, I was like, all right. I mean, it's a CGI otter. I'm not sad.
Yeah, it's more the imagery, and that is the sadistic side of James Gunn.
I thought the villain was fucking awesome.
Really?
Yeah. I liked that they just went full on. He's a lunatic, and like if you're gonna if you're not gonna make him like a Killmonger type villain where he's like, oh, he's kind of right, I like that. Yeah. But if you're not going to do that, make him a psycho. He
works. I like that actor. He was in.
He was great. He was my favorite.
Peacemaker. He was in Peacemaker.
I didn't see Peacemaker.
You should watch.
Well,
Peacemaker,
I love how he played him too. Like he was a little awkward and like I don't know.
I dug the RoboCop face. I dug that they called it out.
Yeah,
he called him RoboCop. Like
that was good.
I thought and that my other like not gripe with it, but I was like halfway through and I'm like, oh, this is like a Rocket story. And I'm not to say I don't. Rocket's fine. I like him fine, but I was like, I that was the other thing that it didn't bug me about it, but it was like that shot in the first one where like they show his back is all messed up.
Yeah,
and I felt like that was enough. Like I got it.
Yeah.
With that 5-second shot, like
that's part of my point. Is
and
like,
nothing they did in the flashbacks really
right
did any. They gave me any more. I mean, yeah, he had some friends. But again, they didn't. I don't want to shit on the movie. I liked it a lot.
I do,
and I thought for sure. And Drax bugs me.
I love Drax, but the other weird thing.
But he wasn't even in it that much. And you know what I thought?
Sucked?
I liked it.
was when the otter came down from heaven and told Rocket that all the Guardians movies were about him the whole time.
I forgot
Yeah.
that happened,
I
man.
thought that was like one of the worst scenes I've
Yeah, that was
seen in
dumb.
any Marvel movie.
Also,
I forgot about that. You're
what-
right.
what was-
That was stupid.
That
What
was
was the deal?
horrible.
What was the deal with Rocket and Peter being best friends when we spent 2 movies of Rocket and Groot being best friends?
I don't know. I like
what?
it. I like
I don't
that they have like an adversarial like
Groot was like
friendship.
was like a stranger.
Yeah,
this
well,
movie.
Groot did not have a lot to do in this one. That's
I mean,
a
I
good
don't really
point. I
care
didn't think
for
about that.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's only so much you could do with a character that doesn't talk.
But they did a
like,
lot with their relationship, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. And then all of a sudden it's like Groot who? I don't know, it was weird.
It was all right.
yeah.
I liked it better than 2. I don't know. I liked it. But like I said, Mantis and Drax. But like I hated the Christmas special because it was the Mantis and Drax show.
I like that.
And they both annoy the shit out of me because they do
All
that thing in these movies where like everybody laughs really hard at something that really isn't that funny. Like it annoys the shit. And Drax's whole shtick, I've never found it funny, and it's just I don't know what it is. And I know I'm in the minority because I tell people look at me like I have 2 heads when I say this, but like it just I knew he said he's done after this one, so I was expecting
they're all done.
I was expecting them to kill him off. I'm glad that the stinger at the end is like Peter goes back to Earth and like
Oh, thank you. Adam Warlock, what a fucking waste of one of the greatest comic book characters ever.
But I did like that that elevator scene was it sounded like it was kind of like a jab in that like I forget how he put it, but it seemed like James Gunn was like, yeah, I had something really cool planned, and then I got it's in the middle of this thing.
What a waste. It's just a waste. And Marvel's
was the only reason he was in it is because he's the stinger at the end of the last one. Otherwise they wouldn't even put him in the movie.
But even then it's like they've already neutered his character and made him into a baby and whatever.
He felt forced in there for sure.
Speaking of laughs, my other, and we'll go quicker through this because we got Repo Man, but you and I spoke about this on either last episode or the one before, and it was on TV, so I was like, I'll put it on while I'm doing stuff. Ace Ventura.
You rewatched it?
It doesn't work, man. It doesn't.
Oh, you're crazy.
I know you love it, and I know everybody loves it. We all loved it. I loved it when it came out. But the problem is that Jim Carrey's shtick, not only has he overdone it throughout his career, but it's been picked up and done so many times by so many other people at this point that when I go back and watch where it started with Ace Ventura, it doesn't hold up for me. Like the comedy is like, I didn't laugh a single time watching it.
Oh my God.
Not a single time. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's one of it doesn't hold up. I don't think he holds up.
I don't know. See, when I rewatched it, it's what's funny about it isn't even like when I was a kid, it was like, oh, he's talking with his butt. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like now when I watch it, it's that everybody else in the movie is playing it completely straight. Everybody else is in a detective movie. And this guy's like bursting into the police station, talking out of his ass. And it's watching everybody else be like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, what is up with this guy? Like everybody else having to deal with him. Plus he's like a genius.
I get that. I totally do. And that's a good point. I guess I'm just looking at it like looking at Jim Carrey's performance. Cause that was, I mean, I was a big fan in Living Color before he ever did
yep, me too.
Like got huge. And looking at him in this, I'm just like, man, it's just, to me, it feels same old because he did it in he was Ace Ventura in every movie he ever did with few exceptions.
I get, well, yeah, like for a while he was doing he did The Mask, he did, Batman Forever, but like, yeah, I mean, you remember what it was like, man. I know
10. He was insane. It was
dude, I was 10 or 11 and like that movie
was like, enough.
Holy Christ, man. I'm getting goosebumps. I saw it in theaters opening weekend and I was just like, dude, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen
Yeah,
in my
I know.
life. Like,
We were all there, man, and like we couldn't get enough Jim Carrey.
yeah.
Leo, Ace
I
Ventura.
don't like him. He freaks me out. I saw the Mask and the Grinch when I was like pretty
Oh
little,
yeah,
and I could tell it was the same guy. And I was just like, I don't know, I was 6 or 7, and I was like, I was just like, why does he do this? Why is he,
yeah.
why does he make these
Why
movies?
is he like this?
It's always green. He's always green. I don't know if I thought maybe he was really green or just liked that part of it. I don't know. It like, yeah, I did not like the mask. I didn't get the mask. I didn't get that it was supposed to be funny. I think that was a big part of it. But
Oh man, I
you ever read
loved the
you ever read
Mask.
the comic, Leo? The Mask.
yeah,
It's
that
like
and
it's like
that too.
not. It's the opposite, you know.
The movie did what I felt like the comic was supposed to do, like
Okay.
for me, because I was too young for it. And isn't there like, does he turn into a B? I get the Mask and the B movie confused for some weird reason.
The
I don't.
Seinfeld B movie?
Yeah. Well, so I have a question about the Mask because I haven't seen it in a long time.
Those
Yeah.
are two.
Does he turn into a bee or does someone?
No,
You know
he
what I'm
never
thinking of
turns
is
into a
Son
bee.
of the Mask. Son of the Mask. Because
Oh,
there is
yeah.
someone who turns into a bug in that. And I think in both of those movies, a bug character dates a human woman. And for some
Well,
reason,
Son of the Mask is not. You can't judge the Mask based
Isn't
on
that
Son
Jamie
of the
Kennedy?
Mask.
Isn't that
Yeah, it's Jamie Kennedy,
Oh my
and it's like
God.
15 years after.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't.
that's hilarious.
I've seen it, and I was like, this is unwatchable. This is really, really bad.
That's
It's
hilarious. Dude,
yeah,
if you, I don't know, Leo, we did a show. It was last season. We did Vampire's Kiss for V, Kevin.
yeah, we did Vampire.
Oh yeah, I
Kiss.
think I listened to that.
If you have you seen that movie?
No. Oh, is that where? Yeah, is that
It's Jim
Nicolas Cage?
Carrey.
He makes big eyes.
It's
Yeah,
no, it's
that's the meme movie. Yeah, where
Okay.
the movie that spawned 1,000 memes, basically.
No. That's Nicolas Cage. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm mixing it up. What was the Jim Carrey movie where he's with the vampires?
Oh,
Once Bitten.
that was Once Bitten.
Okay, sorry. Once Bitten. Have you seen that, Leo?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Once Bitten is Jim Carrey, like 1984-ish, and it's a vampire movie, but it's a comedy. Watch that, and you'll see Jim Carrey unencumbered by Jim Carrey, I think, because it was after that he got into Living Color, where he started developing the characters, and then after that, when he got Ace Ventura, that's when everything he did was the same character. So if you can catch him like pre Jim Carrey, I think it's a good contrast.
That would be cool.
I don't endorse any of this.
Oh, you don't like?
Yeah, I think he's a comedic genius. Yeah, I think that's like being like watch some serious Chris Farley stuff. Like watch something where he's not.
It's not, but it's not serious. It's still comedy. I'm just
saying,
like,
but he's being a regular actor in that movie,
right?
You know what I mean? It's
right.
Like,
but that's what when all he does is one thing. It's good to see him do something different,
sure,
or be in something different. And even though he did, Spotless Mind or Truman Show or
Majestic, he's got his serious roles.
That's why I thought the other day I said, like, man, I want to see him stop making fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movies, come back and like have a serious turn. And I know he's tried serious before, but I'm talking about put him with Scorsese or put him with like somebody like that, and we'll all be laughing at first.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah, we'll all be laughing at first that he's like trying to do something like that. But I think it would pay off. I really do.
I feel like a good like psychotic actor like Nicolas Cage or something like has to kind of take the characters seriously, and I feel like Jim Carrey doesn't really like do that. Yeah. I don't know. It feels like he's trying to annoy me as an audience member more than like I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I will watch this vampire thing.
Cool.
Oh, dude, yeah, vampire. Wait, I thought you were talking about.
No, we're talking about Jim Carrey.
Once Bitten. Leo, Vampire's Kiss is the flick. They'll watch that. It's nothing to do with Jim Carrey, but
it's a good movie.
You'll love it, dude. It's it's insane.
Yeah, not to get off topic, but yeah, watch that and then watch Renfield, which is
I saw Renfield,
which is garbage, but
yeah, it's trash. It's not very good.
Is it bad?
It's really bad.
All right.
Damn. All right.
Before we get into the last thing, before we get into Repo Man, either on the Patreon or earlier in the show, Leo, you said that we turned you on to some shitty movies. Tell me more about that.
Well, I think, well, yeah. So,
Or good movies, but yeah, shitty movies would probably be better.
Yeah, I
the
know.
good movie that I picked up from this podcast that I remember is Altered States. I wouldn't have
Oh, wow.
watched that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Wasn't familiar.
Awesome.
There's a lot of fun episodes like Uncle Sam or whatever, where I'm just glad that I know that exists.
Yeah.
But I didn't follow it up. I think in real life, Kevin has put me onto some good stuff. I think Terror Vision was a Kevin Rack, and
No,
Frankenhooker.
Kevin hasn't seen Terrorvision, I don't think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Was
not, yeah, that wasn't
Frankenhooker a
me.
Kevin Rack?
Frankenhooker,
Yes,
yeah.
Frankenhooker definitely
Are
is.
those the same director? Is that why I'm
No.
confused? Oh, okay, then I don't know.
Terrorvision, I want to do.
Fuck Terrorvision.
That might be coming up in our future, but Frankenhooker, that's a kind of trauma movie.
Yeah.
What's
in
Henenlotter?
spirit.
It's Henenlotter.
It's not. Yeah, it's Henenlotter. Yeah.
Yeah. Henenlotter is like Basket Case. Did you see Basket Case, Leo?
Yeah, I like Basket Case a
So
lot.
that's the same Frankenhooker.
Okay, cool. I've been meaning to watch Basket Case too, because I know you guys talked about that one too. But yeah,
Gavin doesn't like it. I like it.
I still want to see 3, but man, we'll do that as a what'd you watch.
I actually don't want to watch it because I've had 3 on my hard drive forever, and I'm like, do I tempt it? Like it's like it reminds me of The Godfather, where it's like everybody said don't watch Godfather 3, like keep it pure. And then I'm like, no, how bad could it be? And then it's like,
I like Godfather 3, man. Andy Garcia's
it doesn't
hold up to the 3.
It never reaches the level of quality that the first 2 did. And it's like it does kind of taint it.
Is there a movie that you watched that you heard from us that you were like, this is the biggest pile of shit that I've ever wasted time
on? No, I mean, not one that comes to the top of my head. Not really.
That's good.
I mean, a lot of these movies
you didn't watch
are
Queen
like,
of the
they're
Damned
on Tubi, or they're on something that doesn't cost anything. So you can just like, if you watch 10 seconds of it, you can tell that nothing happens. You know what I do sometimes with horror movies is I go on Common Sense Media, or like the IMDb Parents Guide, because you can read like everything that you want to see in the movie will be written there. And so if you're like, if it's a description of like a bunch of cool violence that you want to actually watch, then like that's great. But if it's like everything, I don't know, if they're like everything is presented as silly and whatever, then you're like, yeah, all right, fuck this. So I don't know, I'm pretty good at vetting horror shit.
That's cool. All right. Should we do Repo Man? Should we do this?
Let's do it.
Let's do Repo Man.
Repo Man. Here we go. Stats. 1984. Alex Cox, the director, had a budget of 1.5 million. I did not get its box office, but I'm betting it didn't make money. It
didn't.
Really?
It eventually, gained a cult following and like made its money back that way.
Right.
But yeah, in the theater, it did not.
We got Emilio Estevez. We got Harry Dean Stanton. We've got Tracy Walter, aka Bob the Goon. And then this dude, Dick Rude, who is a big part of the movie behind the scenes. He's one of the villains in the movie, but I had never heard of the guy. Iggy Pop doing some music for it.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I think that's the here for. Big picture. Kevin, you had seen this before. I had never seen this. This is my first time. Leo, first time?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've seen this a while ago.
So big picture. Are you a fan, Kevin?
Yeah, I like it more every time I see it.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. And then like, yeah, every time I see it, I like it more.
Which was when? When was the first time you saw it? Do you think?
Maybe 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Probably more than that. It was because it's in the Criterion collection.
Yeah.
And I went through a phase like a lot of people where I collected Criterions, and I still have a bunch of them. I actually went to go dig it out before we recorded it, and it wasn't in there. I sold probably half of them when I moved, so I must have sold it. But It was yeah. So I was like, well, there must be something there when I got it, and it was. I remember watching it and be like, and not getting why you know what I mean. What I wish Criterion would put something out sometime, like where like even like they do a commentary track or like and they explain what went behind some of their picks, you know. But I mean, yeah, and to me, the first time I saw it, I remember thinking like, why if this makes it, why isn't Return of the Living Dead in there?
Yeah,
You know,
I could see that.
like if this qualifies, I don't see,
I think
you
that
know.
that would,
I think
to
this kind
me,
of had a snobbier
yeah,
audience than
Yeah,
Return of
it
the
did.
Living.
exactly,
Yeah,
It
exactly.
definitely did. And
but
it's
Exactly.
which is fine. Like, you know.
But that I think you're right, Leo. But I think that came later because
oh yeah, okay.
when this movie came out, I mean, I remember seeing the VHS, that poster. It's iconic to me. I remember seeing it on the shelf as a kid, but I had never seen the movie. My parents wouldn't let me rent it. It was rated R, but it stuck with me my whole life and until now. I'm finally seeing it. But I think the big swell for it came later, and I think there's a hint of snobbery or preciousness or elitistness that goes into some of the
Yeah.
Criterion picks, I think.
There's also a lot of themes that are like under the surface. Like when you start to do research about the movie, like
Yeah.
there's little hints to like there's a lot of metaphor and a lot of
Yeah.
symbolism and a lot of like, you know, the stuff that, you know,
I watched
classier
some of
movies
that.
do,
I watched
you
some of
know.
that behind the scenes stuff that you posted. We'll get into it. Leo, big picture, you'd seen this before. So is it like are you a fan of it?
This was one of the first like kind of cool movies like this that I ever saw, and it was something where I originally saw clips of it on YouTube. So like the scene where he's standing by the trash can and he's talking about like time travel, that was one, and then the end when he gets in the car. So I just saw these scenes with like no context, and I thought that was kind of like a kind of I don't know, it was crazy. So this was like a movie that I had for a long time before I could rent movies or find them. Um, I don't know. This was something that I like wanted to see for ages.
Awesome.
And I don't know. I ended up seeing it in high school, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of had like a magical like thing around it for me because of that.
That's fun.
For
That's
ages, yeah.
interesting.
I don't know.
Because I think that's probably what you describe as like what a lot of people latched on to later. And like as it as it as the icon the I don't know what the word is, iconic ism around it sort of developed as it went on. I think that's what a lot of people probably latched on to until they finally saw it. For me, it was just like, that's a great poster. I want to see that. It's
Yeah.
got the guy from the Breakfast Club in it. I want to see that.
He's great in this, by the way.
Dude,
And
it made me really sad that Emilio Estevez turned into just like a Mighty Duck coach,
yeah,
like, for the most part.
that, you know, that was my first exposure to him was
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks.
I mean,
And
mine was Breakfast Club. So it was like, this dude's awesome. I love him. Or no, I'm sorry. Mine was probably Billy the Kid.
So
Young
so
Guns.
Young Guns. Mine was probably Young Guns. And then
was
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club
Sad.
was before this movie.
No, it was the year after. So he got Breakfast Club probably because of this. But
Okay, this was kind of his breakout.
this was 84. Breakfast Club was 85. Young Guns was 87, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know, because Young Guns 2 is
89, I think.
88.
They were like really close. Yeah, they were really close.
It's so funny just saying the word Young Guns, like my brain automatically goes, God, you should watch Young Guns.
Yeah,
like,
dude. I lived.
It's been a while.
That movie
And
for a long time.
Young Guns kicks ass.
It's great.
I don't know Young Guns.
It's like
I don't know the other
it's
one.
about Billy the Kid.
It's like it's basically not the Breakfast Club, but it's like that was a thing, man. Like in the like, you know, the Brat Pack and everything, where it was like, let's get all the hot young actors
Ensemble
and
casts
fucking do
yeah.
ensemble movies.
Yeah.
And it's basically they take all the guys that were hot at the time, like Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips, and like all the like stud actors
Charlie
that are in their
Sheen,
like
man. His brother.
early 20s, yeah, and they
Yeah.
just did a cowboy movie.
Yeah.
Good flick. Very
Awesome
good
flick.
flick.
So I watched some of the all right, let me give it a loose Repo Man. For those who haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm probably the last person with this on their radar who hadn't seen it, but it's basically like this punk kid in a punk scene in like Nevada. Is that right?
You know, I
California.
always thought I think it's LA
Yeah,
because
I think it is LA.
there's the scene where
because the map at the beginning goes into
it zooms into. I thought the same thing because
Right.
I never really paid attention to that map until this time, and I was like, I thought this was LA, and then I mean the shooting locations are in LA.
Right.
I mean the viaduct from Terminator 2 is in this.
Right.
It has a very LA vibe wherever it's set. Like, yeah.
It was definitely
too,
shot in LA. I don't know.
But also like, I mean, I got vibes of, I mean, it's a very shitty place wherever this is, but anyway, he's a punk and he's in the punk scene, and he stumbles into this, Harry Dean Stanton cons him into helping him repossess a car. And so he stumbles into this line of work and he becomes a repo man. And throughout the whole movie, there's this like seeds or threads of, and that was the other reason they took, Roswell, New Mexico, and the whole alien theme. That's why I thought that somewhere in there in that east of California area. And there's this car driving around the whole movie with aliens in the trunk, dead aliens in the trunk, that when people open the trunk, they get vaporized somehow. That's never really explained, but everybody's looking out for this car. And silliness happens. I watched a lot of the Criterion documentaries and behind the scenes stuff, and it was really interesting to see, I don't know if you got to see any of that stuff, Leo, or have ever seen any of it, but there's one that is purely focused, and I couldn't tell if it was being serious, where it's purely focused on the director, Alex Cox, having stepped away and them kind of pulling like a Gareth Edwards, Rogue One thing, where it's like they gave him credit, but this other dude who was actually one of the villains in the movie having directed it. Did you watch that one, Kevin?
Yeah. And at first I was like, are they being serious? Because like
I couldn't tell they were being serious.
I think they were. I think it's like fan made. That seemed like a YouTube video that they threw on there, and it's also on the DVD. I think that's an Easter egg bonus feature. I like that. It's not on the menu.
Well, because
I could be wrong about that.
It's contradicted when you watch. What was the other one that was like something about a plate, hot dogs on a plate or something? Or
I didn't watch that.
Plate of shrimp.
It's contradicted by everyone in that Plate of Shrimp documentary that says Alex Cox was great, and they talk about him and they talk about the filming process and that he was there the whole time. So it's like to me,
and he also does the commentary on it with
to me with
a lot of the people from the production. So it's
I think the other one is bullshit.
So wait, I haven't seen the thing you guys are talking about. Are you talking about how they changed the ending or what?
No, it goes into a lot of metaphor that. So in the movie, there's the two villains, the Hispanic guys that are driving around. So one of them who's wearing he's like the lighter complexion and he's got a mustache, I think, a goatee.
Yeah.
So that dude, this other documentary credits him for having directed this when Alex Cox stepped away for some reason.
Oh, and then the whole thing.
The whole thing. And then
they
tie because of him. They say that dude that actor director who did the movie had like ties to communist stuff, and that there were all these like Easter egg communism symbolism and just like underlying themes and metaphors.
The plot too. Like I feel like the characters kind of discuss that stuff. That's just a big punk thing.
Yeah,
I feel like but so that's interesting that wasn't in the originally the intention for
right. But I think that documentary might be complete garbage.
I don't know. Okay. I'd like to do more research. It's really cool that Criterion put that, even if it is like a Easter egg you have to find, that they put that on there, because it's like it's clearly a perspective someone has. Like they didn't have to put that on there. It's kind of like, I don't know.
It feels like without that political perspective, there's kind of no point to the movie. So it would be really interesting to see
Yeah.
It
You know
does
what I
feel
mean?
like, yeah, like there's a point, like they're trying to say something, and
Yeah.
I'd like to watch the commentary on it. I meant to all week and I just haven't.
You said
Yeah,
But
you
man, I wish I'd seen that. Yeah, before we talked about it, but yeah,
I mean, I think I don't know. I think to me it detracts from even more of what the movie is about and what it's trying to say. Like, what was for instance, I mean, like, what was there a point, or did I miss something about, how every product in the movie, food, drink, otherwise, is just labeled beer,
beer
just
or
labeled
soda or
food,
chips, yeah.
drink. Did you catch that? Like,
Yeah, I caught it.
yeah,
I
I thought that was cool.
what's happening there?
probably because I mean, if I had to guess, they probably just they couldn't pay to get anybody in. You know what I mean? Like, hey, the character has to drink beer. We're not gonna, we can't. I think they're trying to probably save money, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool aesthetic, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like,
I think it
it
also
was,
ties into like the whole anarchist punk vibe of it, just
yeah,
being like not supporting any
Yeah,
kind of
they don't want to like
yeah,
shill for all these products and
brand,
they're
yeah,
paying.
products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It
Um,
reminded me of They Live.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's like
yeah,
it is like when you have the glasses on. The whole movie is with the glasses on,
Consumerism. Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It's from the outsider's perspective. Yeah.
right.
Um,
Right.
yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah.
Did
And I
you
love. Oh,
go
go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I love when they're in the convenience store. This is a super minor thing, but like when they shoot all the people and the blood gets on those like white boxes of like cornflakes or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a cool and
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
meaningful image. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a the dude, like the main guy with the shaved head, the main villain guy.
He was great, by the way, man. He seemed really familiar.
Well, he's the guy that's Dick Rude. So created he wrote this, right? He created Repo Man
I didn't know that.
an earlier version of it. And then in one of the documentaries it said that he created it, wrote it, and it was called something else. It became Repo Man. And he's that's been his like claim to fame, up until current. He was weird. He was one of those villains where it's like, he first shows up and you get the sense that they're buddies, and he's like, Emilio Estevez, like, when did you get out of jail? And they kind of embrace for a minute, but then like literally 30 seconds later, he's banging his girlfriend, and then they're like not friends anymore.
Yeah.
Weird villain. Like, he just creeped me out big time.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. It also, like, I I don't know. He was good in that, like, he represented like where Emilio Estevez like was, because I mean, as much as like they show him being a punk in the beginning a bunch, you don't, besides he tells everyone to go fuck themselves, you don't really get a sense of his life until like whatever. And I don't know. I feel like he's supposed to represent
Sure.
Where Emilio, once Emilio Estevez gets the job as a Repo Man, his life is different.
Yeah.
He's moved on.
Yeah.
He's dressing up. It's almost like that represents his old ways, and
Right.
I
love that about Emilio Estevez's character, how steeped you can tell that he is. Like that scene right after he finds him and his girlfriend together, and he's sitting by himself drinking beer, like next to some train tracks or something, and then he gets pissed off and starts reciting all these like TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And you right there in that scene, you can tell that he's in that, but that he's so upset that now he's on the outside of it in a way. And then to see him evolve into this Repo Man job where he's like, yeah, I'm working. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm working. And
Yeah.
like that attitude, like he's fully embraced like a totally new lifestyle. It was like a really cool character arc for him.
A line that I thought was really good, when Harry Dean Stanton's character was saying like they're car thieves, they're the same as us. I thought that was like, I don't know, that's like kind of the whole idea of the movie. Like they're, to them as individuals, like they have the same thing. They just take people's cars and they get money for it. And these guys get it through some authority that everyone in the movie has decided is legitimate. And the car thieves get it, like, I don't know, by selling the cars.
Right.
So I don't know, like,
yeah.
But like to everyone we see, like all the characters, it's the same transaction.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
What's going on with? Go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
And I just really dug that they showed him with other Repo Men, and they all had different like different ways to go about getting the cars and stuff like that. And it was like some guys have like a moral code, and other guys are like, why the fuck would you have that? Like
Right.
it just reminded me of real work,
That was
you know.
awesome. I love that too, showing like he got a different perspective from every single person that worked there. The black dude who's when they go on the one and he's just like he just like fires into the house, but it ends up being blanks. I love that he was like because his whole MO was just being this tough like dude and getting the job done through that. And then we find out that he does care because he's using
Yeah.
blanks instead of like firing actual bullets into the place. Um, all right, what's your take on the whole alien side of this thing?
It was one of the things that like the first time I saw it got on my nerves because the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, it's I felt like the beginning promises that it's an alien movie. And so you're thinking, okay, well, the aliens are going to show up eventually. And then, they don't. But it's once you know that, it's kind of like Guardians 2, where like the first time I saw it, I was like, that sucked because I was expecting to like move the needle, like as far as that bigger Marvel story.
Sure.
But then once you know that it doesn't do that, it like you can just appreciate the movie, So it was kind of like once I realized the car is just basically a MacGuffin for all the characters to fight over. It's like a big rat race. It's like Snatch.
Yeah.
And I was able to enjoy it a lot more because it's very chaotic too. Like, so you're like, what is going? Who are I? The first time I saw it, I had a hard time keeping all the characters straight and like keeping all their motivations right, and like. But I don't know. It just like any movie, the more you see it, the more it makes sense.
I'm glad you said that out of the chaos because it's like I noticed the editing of this movie is really either intentionally like hard to follow or just really bad. Because there's points where like somebody will be here and then it just cuts scene and they're somewhere else entirely different without any like connective line. I don't know.
Yeah.
That happened a lot
I
with
was
Emilio
noticing that
Estevez.
too. Or like his whole relationship with his girlfriend, I feel like is really hard to follow.
Right. Yeah, it was.
Like they start fighting and then like she's working with the government
Right.
and torturing. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of jumps. Like it is pretty weird. Yeah.
To even call her like his girlfriend, I think that was lost in the editing where it was like they're doing some things
Yeah,
together.
like what are
whatever,
they,
But then all of a sudden, like she's watching him being tortured, and like
and doesn't care. Like
and doesn't care.
Yeah, and then
that was another scene
like
where
she's
it's like,
acting like they did have like a relationship. So yeah, it's weird.
Well, no, that might be my favorite part of the whole movie is when he he goes to leave and she says,
Yeah, oh yeah, and then she's like, yeah.
And like she's like, hey, what about us? And he goes, fuck that. And he just gets in the car. That's actually, you know what that scene reminds me of every time is Close Encounters. Because it's basically the end of Close Encounters, except that his wife never. Leo, you ever see the movie Close Encounters of the
Yeah,
Third
a
Kind?
long time ago. Yeah.
So at the end of the movie, Richard Dreyfuss is obsessed with the spaceship the whole movie.
right.
In the end, the spaceship shows up and it's like, hey, come on, let's
Yeah.
go. Richard Dreyfuss has a family and he just like is like, yep, gets on the ship and leaves. And Spielberg said, like, yeah, I got fucked up. Like I did that movie before I had kids, and
Really,
like I probably
awesome.
yeah, like he, but yeah, like I would love a cut of the Close Encounters where his wife is like, what about us? And he just goes, fuck that, and just gets in the fucking spaceship.
I love that.
Like,
I love the way that speaking of the way that he treats like the dude who he works with in the grocery store that looks like Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like that's the closest thing that he's got to a friend, like a real friend.
Yeah.
But you don't get that until like at the beginning. To me, they were just coworkers, and he even like he's like fuck you, and he like pushes him and like but then we keep seeing them together, and I'm like, all right, that's his like buddy from wherever, high school or whatever. But you never get like a sense of where the loyalty comes from.
Well, you also get that whole. I think it's one of the motivating things that he's starts working for the Repo Man because he's like, or becomes Repo Man because he's like, he's a guy in a dream that what does he say? We were like janitors
Oh yeah,
or something.
yeah,
And we were like in our 60s. And then and that's really the last you see. I know they check back in on him
yeah,
on Kevin, I think was his name, the Napoleon Dynamite guy.
yeah.
But that was the other thing. Like I felt like they established him as a character, and then just kind of a lot of characters like that in this movie where they build him up, and then it's just like, yeah, now he's just in the movie sometimes.
Right.
Like I don't know.
The
Besides Emilio Estevez, they didn't spend too much time with anybody.
I mean, Harry
But
Dean Stanton got,
yeah,
Harry Dean Stanton to me in this movie was he was the foundation to everything, especially having brought Emilio Estevez into the whole deal. And even though we don't get that was another thing though that was sporadic and weird was like Harry Dean Stanton. How the fuck did he end up in the hospital? I don't know. Like he's just there all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden he's in the car driving away, and I'm like, what the fuck? But he's like, at least through the movie, he's he's Emilio Estevez's like foundation throughout the movie. I think. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like a hangout movie, just in terms of how slow and weird it is. But no one's like friends in it. Like everyone kind of is just awkward talking to each other.
Yeah,
and kind of creeps each other out.
Yeah, everybody's very antagonistic. Everybody, the response to everybody is "fuck you." Like every scene, it's every single scene. Somebody's telling someone else to go fuck themselves.
That's kind of what I like about the ending is like I feel like that's the only way it could end, because if the aliens came out and there was some crazy thing where they like destroy the city or whatever, like our main guy wouldn't, like Otto wouldn't give a fuck. Like it's cool, like all he wanted was a cool car, I feel like, in that movie, and now he has a car that is like golden and flies and like the guy who believed in UFOs or whatever was the guy who was able to like make that happen for him, so he kind of starts to like respect him at the end, I feel like. So that's like, I don't know, that's like his growth or whatever. But I don't know, that's how
that's and I love I mean, the dude Bob the Goon, whatever the fuck his name is in this movie, who's driving the car when it's flying.
He was great.
He was awesome, and he was in something else that we just watched. Maybe it was like the Peter Weller movie or something. He was in there. Yeah, he was. He was the Orkin Man, whatever. In
oh yeah,
what was the name of the movie? Fucking
the Rat movie.
Oh, it was right.
Mouse Hunt?
Rat Jaws. Of unknown origin.
Of unknown origin. He was the pest killer guy. He's always like playing like sort of like the guy who explains what's going on, or the only guy in the movie that knows what's going on. Like he knows the rat problem, like he's been through that. He knows like he's Bob the Goon, so he knows like how to be a good like criminal helper to the Joker. And then in this, he's like the only one that really truly knows just how fucked up things are, but also how like ethereal things are and like heady, and like, he's the one that somehow knows that the car is magic, or knows how to operate the car, or that if you sit in it, it's going to fly, or whatever the fuck happens there at the end. Also, that was the other thing that documentary talked about, was when Harry Dean Stanton dies at the end, he gets shot and he's on the ground. He says the line, I'd rather die standing than on my knees, or whatever, or live on my knees.
I'd rather die
standing than live on your knees. But it's 80 yard in. Like, So anyway, it was something that he said originally. And so that was part of the whole like conspiracy theory thing that was connecting it to communism.
There was a lot of weird ADR in this, though. There was, and I was usually, when you see like a blatant ADR, and that one I didn't notice until they pointed it out in the special features, but there was one in particular where it was very obvious. Oh no, never mind. I'm thinking of Teen Wolf. Never mind.
Dang, Teen Wolf ADR.
Teen Wolf. There's a line in Teen Wolf, and I was like, what was that originally? Because that's a clear like
somebody's
dub.
mouth moving.
Yeah, it was a line, and they clearly changed the line, and I went and researched and I couldn't find it.
It's weird.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
What were you gonna say, Leo?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to like go too art school on this movie, but I
Do
kind
it.
of liked the ADR because it emphasized a lot of lines in a really weird way.
Yeah, it did.
Um, like I mean, it didn't make it like a good movie or like very professional, but I don't know, I thought it was cool. It, like set them apart somehow, and like, um, yeah, even if that wasn't like meant to be a line you were supposed to really think about, it would make me kind of think about it more.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's usually, I mean, that's a good point because ADR is like somebody either replacing a line that for some reason didn't work or putting something in there as a message to make sure that it's heard. And ADR is almost always like a little bit of a notch higher in volume than the rest of the dialogue in the scene. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's
yeah,
and this movie is like the perfect movie to do that because without weird shit like that, this movie is just kind of like, what are we doing? Like when I was watching it, especially for my first time, the other night, I was like, I was enjoying it for what it was, an 80s movie. I didn't really dive too deep as I was watching it until afterwards when I thought about it. And then I was watching the documentaries. But while I was watching, I was like, why is Repo Man like Repo Man? Like why is this movie why has it lasted so long in people's brains? I guess I still kind of don't get it, even though I enjoyed it, but for some reason it has. Cult
yeah. I think the
classic
more
is
you watch it, if you ever watch it again, I think you'll enjoy it more. And like,
yeah,
even though I liked it this time, but it does get better every time.
and it's not so
yeah.
much that I didn't enjoy it. It was just like I was expecting more on the surface, I think.
Yeah,
That's what it was, I think.
I sort of what I kind of like about it is too, and I feel like a lot of like really good cult movies have this, is it kind of presents you with just like a way of life. Like you're gonna be a repo man, and like it's sort of weirdly like saying that like the ultimate punk thing you can do is like steal cars from poor people, and like having a character who comes to that conclusion and then like follows aliens around for the rest of the movie, I think is a really weird choice.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, I don't know. I just like I guess like it gives you this perspective, and then it gives you all these other characters. Like every character is just like selling you on their way of life through the whole movie. And like I don't know, like the plot isn't that engaging. There's not like good scenes in it or whatever. But like every scene, I do feel like gives you something to think about or some kind of like weird wisdom. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. The quotes carry it. Like even like the funny lines, I don't feel like are that funny, but they're super memorable. Like let's get sushi and not pay,
I
or
was
like
just
when he's
looking
That
like,
at that.
was
I
that
wrote
was
that
great.
down. I was
That was
just
great.
looking at that.
I love when he's in the car with the scientist who's got like one of his
Yeah.
glasses is like blacked out like an eye patch.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of like he's first of all, I love when he's describing the bomb that just kills people and leaves buildings standing. Like that's such a creepy image, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's deep too, I guess. But like he's like, do you ever feel like your brain is eroding? And he's just like, no, like no, dumbass. Like I don't know. That might be my favorite part.
I love that. I mean, oddly, there are really good lines that are pretty basic, but they stick out. That one you just said about sushi, because they're like, I think before that line, the scene before that line, he's like, let's go do some crime. And then,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then afterwards, because they leave the store
Yeah,
and he
shit gets
goes
too
and,
real for him, and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right, let's go back to petty
Yeah.
crime. Like, yeah, like I don't, yeah,
But
this is
still my
nuts.
favorite, I think two of my favorite lines in it, just the first fuck you at the beginning in the grocery store when he looks at his boss. He says it to his boss. But then also I think it's Harry Dean Stanton calls somebody a gypsy dildo punk.
yeah.
He like just
Yeah.
yells, he's like, gypsy dildo punks. I was like, that's a good that I'm gonna use that or get a shirt. I don't know.
There's a bunch of like, didn't Emilio Estevez, he picks up the girl and he's like, she says, what do you do? I steal cars from dildos that don't pay their bills.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
it was,
Uh,
yeah, pretty awesome, man.
I don't know. You guys got anything else that needs to be
No,
said?
man, I liked it. I'm probably gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
I couldn't find this on Google. I really wanted to talk about the alternate ending, which I mean I don't have it written. I remember like two things about it. I remember at the end the car blows up America and the main guy goes to like South America and becomes like a communist revolutionary.
I didn't know about any of this.
You talking about the alien car blows up?
The alien car blows up either LA or all of America or all of North America, or I'm completely making this up because I couldn't find this on Google. So this might be like my Repo Man fan fiction, but I think this is real. Or maybe I saw a YouTube video about this. And I don't know why they didn't do it. I like this ending a lot better because I don't know. It feels more right for, I don't know, like what that character would have wanted. But
if that's a real thing, I can totally understand why they went with the whimsical Herbie the fucking car floating in the air and Emilio Estevez getting a happy ending and whatever, as opposed to, because it's kind of like first thing that pops in my head is the alternate ending to Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop, I thought the same thing.
Where like the world gets destroyed by giant plant mutants, and it's like, but
like that, I could see the studio note there. Whereas like this movie, I can't imagine it had a lot of studio notes. You know,
I mean, it's not like it's
pretty.
Not like it's not like you got to make sure you have a happy ending on this movie because the whole movie was, insane.
Dark and weird and fucked up.
Where do you remember where you first saw that alternate ending?
They didn't shoot it. It was
okay.
I might have seen it. I thought it was on the Wikipedia page, but I pulled that up before we started recording and it's not. If I find it, I'll send it to you guys. But and I might be getting stuff wrong, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, look it up for sure.
All right, guys. Kevin, are you satisfied?
Yeah, for sure.
Leo, you satisfied?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally fucking saw this movie, man. Seriously, I'm 1984, so I've been looking at that VHS cover and I can't wait to get that VHS added to my collection. It's awesome. All right, guys, Repo Man in the book. So, Kevin, next week we have the letter S. You have the letter S.
Yeah.
Let me, before you have more than one pick, or have you picked it?
I have two that I'm like floating, but I have one that I'm kind of leaning towards. What you have?
Let me throw this one out.
I'm open to suggestion.
Maybe it's one of these.
Something.
Maybe you've already picked this, but I'm gonna throw it out. You pick what you want. But Joe reminded me last night.
Yes.
John
Joe
Carpenter's
reminded me too.
Swamp Thing. John Carpenter, man. Fucking John Carpenter.
Joe told me he wanted to do Suspiria.
We'll do Suspiria. We'll have Joe on. We'll do Suspiria as a What'd You Watch. And and we'll do that. But he wants to watch the new Suspiria, which wouldn't qualify anyway. So it'll be a What'd You Watch. But yeah, Swamp Thing, John Carpenter.
1987 Swamp Thing. Isn't it a TV movie?
It might have gotten a small theatrical release. Have you never seen it?
No.
It's like straight up. No, it's not. It got a theatrical release because it was John Carpenter at his relative peak, but it's a legit horror movie with like a creature movie. Adrian Barbeau, Dick Durdock. If you've never seen it, man, and you're a Swamp Thing fan,
I'm not necessarily.
Is it like based on the comic? Do they do stuff from the comic?
Yeah, but it's not like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. It's like pulpy comic book.
Or like 50s Swamp Thing or whatever. Yeah.
It's like, it's monsters fighting each other. So I'm just putting it out there. It's a really cool movie though. And it's John Carpenter. So anyway, what do you got?
So all day I've been walking around thinking like, I think maybe Slither, because I've never seen it, and it's
does that fit?
I think it does. I think it just barely makes the cut.
I think you gotta double check that, man.
Yeah, we gotta double check that. But actually, that was what I was kind of going for, and then I was like, I don't know, blah blah blah. And then right when we started recording, something popped up in like my recommendations from IMDb, and then it was like, if you like this, you'll like. And it was like all my favorite movies. I'm like, okay. And I look at who was involved with it. And I was like, have you ever heard of this movie called Street Trash?
Street Trash. Oh, it sounds familiar.
I've heard of it. Like once it came up, I was like, ooh, yeah, I know. I've heard of this movie. And it's got a pretty good reputation among like scumbags. Like which is my kind of movie. You know what I mean? And I looked at some of the reviews on IMDb and people are like, dude, this is a sleeper classic.
All right. Yeah. 1987. I'm looking at it right now. Dude, I think I saw a scene from this in maybe it was In Search of Darkness 3, the documentary.
Okay. Which I can't find a list. I tried to find because I have a list from all the movies from the first two.
Yeah.
And I've never I can't find a comprehensive list of movies from the third one.
Is it a trauma movie? Street Trash?
I don't think so. Maybe.
It looks like one. Anyway, you want to do that? I'll do that.
Yeah.
Street Trash.
Yeah.
Slither, by the way, is 2006, so it doesn't.
So it does not qualify.
But you should
what
watch.
is the qualification? Was it has to be 20 years old?
No, it has to be on VHS, and the last VHS ever came out in 2005.
Oh, really? Don't they do VHSs for like Mandy and like all those hipster movies?
Yeah, it's got to be on real VHS.
But it's real. Okay, got you.
History of Violence was the last VHS in 2005. But you should watch, if you want to do Slither as a what'd you watch, we could do that.
Maybe. I've never seen it.
It's James Gunn.
Yeah, I know. But I
it's
always
gross as fuck.
I like James Gunn, but I think every one of his movies I've seen, I'm like, I feel like this is overpraised. Like, even though I like all the Guardians movies, I like Super, but like I always feel like people are really like, oh, it's amazing. I'm like, it's not amazing. It's pretty good.
You're right. No, you're right.
Can I read a review for Street Trash? It's a positive review.
Yeah,
are you guys done with me? Are you guys just discussing?
No. We're still recording.
This is a positive review by a guy who looks very old on Rotten Tomatoes. It is 22-year-old director Jim Murrow's only film. That's sorry, never mind. I thought that would be funny, but
that's his review.
That's his review. It is his only film.
That's awesome. Wait, is that on? Did you say Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb?
That's on Rotten Tomatoes. That's by like a real critic.
Yeah. That's his review.
That's the whole thing.
That's funny,
dude. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good pick, man. It's Kevin doesn't usually pick stuff.
I usually don't pick ones that both of us haven't seen that are obscure as fuck. But
usually Kevin's like, I think if you had your way, if you had your druthers, I think we'd just be watching like Return of the Living Dead like over and over and over.
Well, I almost picked Society, but I figued you would veto it.
I'm so glad that you didn't pick that, dude.
That's another one that's better every time.
Oh my god, I hate that movie. Dude, Leo, have you seen Society?
Yeah, dude, I love Society. Can I, with you, when you get through the alphabet, can I talk about Society with you guys?
Yeah, next time you're on, we could do that as a what'd you watch or whatever works. All right, man. Leo, before we go, tell them again what's going on, where to find you.
Yeah, Wack Mirror. Follow Leo Make Comic on Instagram for updates. Buy it at leomancini.com.
Nice. Dude, I really appreciate you coming on. It was a blast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
And Leo, I mentioned before, he comes into the shop, Oh Yeah Comics, where I work on Tuesdays. And he said the other day, like a few weeks ago, he's like, I've listened to all your episodes. I want to be on the show. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Like if anybody comes up to me and says that, you're going to be on the show. So, so I appreciate you coming on, and you're always welcome back. And especially maybe the next time, whatever letter we're on, we'll have you pick the movie, but it's just got to be on VHS. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Absolutely. And also Christopher Sarandon, I know you're listening. So we're going to have you on the show, Chris Sarandon, Prince Humperdinck. And we're going to interview you, and we're going to interview Billy from Gremlins. And we're going to start doing more guests, especially as we go into season 4 after this one wraps up. So Leo, we appreciate you being one of our rare guests that we've had on the show. What else, Kevin? What am I forgetting?
You got nothing, man.
Find us on social media at Death by Podcast everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Support the show. Patreon.com/deathbypodcast. I didn't talk about the other what you watch was I watched some Welcome Back Kotter last night, season 1, episode 1. It's got our boy James Woods in the house, who you're going to hear from shortly as soon as I say, folks, thanks for listening. It's Miller time. Kevin, take it away.
Shut the fuck up.
There it is. Good old James Woods. Leo just got the behind-the-scenes view on how it's not actually James Woods. Did you think it was James Woods, Leo?
Yeah, that was a big disappointment for me.
Yeah. Folks, thanks for listening. Do you have a sign-off that you want to say, Leo? Do you have a sign-off?
Me?
Yeah.
No, just
like a catchphrase. What's your catchphrase? You got to have a catchphrase.
My catchphrase is it's buy and then whatever comic I have.
Oh, okay. All right, next time you're on, next time you're on, you got to have a catchphrase that has nothing to do with comics.
I'll think about that.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week for Street Trash. Adios.